Our brother Desmond is undertaking some interview outside. He will join us briefly. Okay, here he comes. Thank you. Do I have Divine here? Kekesi? Okay, he will join shortly. This panel will be helping us to discuss the issue of the quality of early childhood teachers that are brought up by the colleges and universities undertaking teacher education, particularly early grade education, and how they are deployed. So the NTC personnel is here. GES is represented. Ministries of Education is represented on the panel to do this discussion. Thank you. Please, my second mic. Is there anyone here? Please check around if the mic is with any of us.
But now we can hear you.
No, for the sake of the cameras. Yeah. This is not blocking.
Thank you all panel members for agreeing to join us to do this discussion. And before we proceed, I want us to introduce ourselves so that our audience will be able to identify.
Okay. Thank you very much. I am Desmond Alitipapu from the National Teaching Council.
Okay, so thank you very much. My name is Isaac Ataba from Ministry of Education. I'm a unit head in charge of early childhood education within the pre-tertiary directorate. Thank you.
I'm Janet Operiwa Amo, GES.
My name is Robert Hansa with Sabre Education.
I am Divine Koku Kekesi from St. Teresa's College of Education, Early Childhood Coordinator.
Thank you all. This is a general question I want us all to discuss. I want us to tell us, all of us, we are telling ourselves, our view of the quality of teachers we train and deploy now, currently. What is your view on that?
Okay, so thank you very much. So let me first bring, warm felicitation from the management of Ministry of Education, led by Honorable Yao Osei Edichum, Doctor. Thank you very much. So I would like to start by saying that what type of teachers do we now have in our classroom? What type of teachers do we now have in our classroom? So ladies and gentlemen, now any teacher that you see in a classroom way back from 2018 up till now, I will rate that teacher to be a quality teacher. And then someone asked me why. So these teachers go through competent hands from colleges of education, and universities. These teachers, second, would also have to do their national service. Third, these teachers are supposed to sit, write, and pass licensure examination before these teachers are accepted in our various classrooms. So if you find any teacher today in the classroom, that teacher is quality, irrespective of certain challenges, little challenges that we have. Thank you very much.
Minister of Education, what will you say?
Yeah.
Education service.
GES, yeah. There's been a crop of teachers who have gone through training and acquired the necessary skills. So what we are seeing on the ground now is that they are working effectively in terms of the passion, the classroom organization, and being creative as well. So for now, they are really doing well in the classroom.
I want to ask the STS coordinator, you train teachers on the field. So currently, what can you tell us about teachers now?
Yeah, thank you very much. I think what my senior rep from the ministry mentioned, from 2018 till now, there has been a series of reforms. And in my work as a teacher in the college for about 8 years, I have seen a lot of changes in the teachers we churn out to the nation. There are many reforms which are helping our teachers or student teachers and those that graduated, and they are performing marvelously well in their small corners. Possibly, we may not be able to get in touch with some of these teachers. As our research is showing, we sample teachers and you may not get the right teacher in this sampling we do, because there are some of them that are doing very well out there. Thank you.
Sabre, you have been going around to look at what they do. What can you say?
Thank you very much. I think for me, I would agree in part to the earlier comments that have been made about how well the teachers are currently trained, and therefore they would appear to be quality teachers that we have since 2008. But I think there is still a lot of challenges with the quality of teachers that we are
We'll come to
producing.
that, but I want to know.
So for me,
Currently.
I think my view from the teachers we've been engaging so far is that they seem to really understand the theories in terms of understanding why and how certain practices must be done. However, translating the theories into practice often becomes a challenge, and therefore it raises questions as to the quality of teachers that we are training and producing. But also, we have to acknowledge the fact that we are discussing early grade education, and we still have a situation in this country where we are currently not being able to produce enough early grade teachers for our early grade classrooms. And so we are sending out, in some cases, primary trained teachers to be teaching in the early grade classrooms. Therefore, they don't have the right pedagogies to deliver at that level. So I think there's a challenge with the quality of teachers that we are training and deploying.
Okay, NTS. Yes, National Teaching Council.
When you say NTS, what came to my mind was the
NTC.
National Teacher Standard. Okay, so I'm with the National Teaching Council. Okay, so we work with the standard as well.
The standard of teachers in the classroom. How will you rate them?
Okay, there have been a lot of interventions and innovative programs or policies from the council. And noticeably, I think the other panelists have made mention of the fact that of the licensure exams and its component in terms of bringing out their professional competencies and making the teachers employable worldwide. We've had a series, or we've had like a plethora of organizations from different countries that are trooping to Ghana to recruit teachers. What I would say is that Ghanaian teachers are of high demand. And this is not, this was not attained by just by method, but it was based on the policies or what they've come to realize in terms of how Ghana is churning out teachers. Just some 2 years ago, UK UKID. They were in Ghana. That is in December 2022. UKID was in Ghana, and we met them in November. So we went through our licensing and CPD architecture. And we were very impressed. That was in December. Sorry, that was in November. Then just in December, they issued a statement or a communique for Ghanaian, for recruitment or for giving some form of leverage for Ghanaian teachers to practice in UK. So what they said was, now if you're a Ghanaian teacher, you could equally practice in UK and obtain your QTS as a qualified teacher status. So if the whole UK is giving us that approval, and Canada has also shown commitment. We had when we talk about the Asian countries, there are a lot more. So this shows that the Ghanaian teachers are in high demand, and a lot of countries. When I talk about a lot of countries, I'm talking about Namibia. Namibia has been to Ghana, and Ghana is even shaping the teaching architecture of Namibia. Gambia as well. We've done the same with Sierra Leone. Ethiopia, I was in Ghana recently. We've met them, and they were very impressed, and they've come to us just to offer support. So this is to tell what the council, what the Ministry of Education as a whole is doing in terms of uplifting the professional competencies and status of teachers. Thank you.
All right, thank you. But for STS coordinator, you have the curriculum to train teachers for our schools. Do you have any gaps? Have you been able to identify any gaps in your training?
Yeah, thank you. Yes, there are no success without challenges. So we have realized that most of the things, the reforms and the development of the curriculum, there are certain areas that are lacking. But one good thing about most of these things is that the curriculum is integrated so much that many activities are packed for the teacher to do. So looking at the time teachers spend on the job and how the curriculum is loaded, it poses a great challenge to us. And then when we come to the college, we take a lot of courses as the universities do, and the components of the main idea of training the teacher, which is teaching, is a little bit limited. I was discussing with somebody, when you take kindergarten learner plan, for instance, it is in some of our courses we are supposed to teach. But if you are not a smart teacher, you may not reach that unit before the semester will end. And that poses a great challenge to most of our trainees.
Sabre, can you add up? Because I know you go around to check some of these things. Have you been able to identify any gap that needs to be filled in the training of the teachers?
Sorry, if you can just repeat a bit. Gaps in terms of
Gaps that you have been able to identify in your course of work with the teachers we have currently in our schools.
If I can just make a quick comment about the earlier submission from the NTC person,
Okay.
and I'll move on to the question.
All right.
I think sometimes when we talk about Ghanaian teachers being in high demand to the UK and other places, I think we have to be a bit cautious about how we talk about that, because, for instance, I know the Ghanaian teachers will still have to go through very rigorous selection processes to be able to be employed in the UK. So even in the UK, for instance, teachers still need to acquire a teacher's license to teach in the UK classrooms. I'm not so sure whether the teacher's license they get in Ghana automatically allows them to go teach in the UK classrooms, or they still have to. So maybe something you can enlighten all of us about when you get a chance. But in terms of the gaps, I think, like I earlier mentioned, from where we sit, we think one of the biggest gaps in terms of the training of teachers is the ability to translate the theories into practice. We have a situation where it appears, first of all, we are talking about play-based pedagogy for the early years levels. Most of us, including the teachers we have, did not ourselves experience play-based learning when we were in the schools, when we were going through schooling. And therefore, we don't have that experience itself to be able to easily enact play-based learning in our own classrooms. And so if we have a situation where the training we are receiving isn't also experiential enough, then we hear and learn and read and can write exams about play-based learning, but then we get into the classrooms and what play-based learning means, we struggle to implement. So I think that's one of the biggest challenges that we need to look at.
Okay, can't we say that it's because of the way we take them through? Because for what I know, play-based is like the games that learners go through, all of us go through as children. We should use those things in teaching our learners. But here is the case, we make it as if play-based is different from what we normally do. Don't you think that would be the cause?
It could be one of the factors, using games is one of the ways of doing play-based learning.
Yes.
But there could be other play-based activities that may not necessarily be games that could still be used in the classroom. I think the challenge is that a lot of us growing up have seen a teaching approach where the teacher is in front of the class, the children seated in rows and columns and are just being given information. And no matter how much you are hearing that there's something called play-based learning, it becomes just difficult to switch from what you yourself experienced, what you've seen going through school, to this idea that people are talking about. So I think unless there's a conscious effort in the training of the teachers to ensure that they experience play, it can become very difficult. So one of the things we do at Sabre, for instance, in our earlier trainings for teachers, is to actually get them to experience play-based activities in the demonstration classroom. So we set up this classroom to look like an early grade classroom, for instance. We have activities in there, both indoors and outdoors learning centers, and the adults who are teachers actually go through some of these activities. And you can see how excited they get when they're actually going through these activities. And then when they finish, you get them to reflect on the kind of learning experiences they had and how these are helping to achieve various indicators in the curriculum. So I think that makes a difference.
Madam from GES, you normally go around to check what teachers are doing in their classroom. Is there any challenge
Yes.
that you've been able to identify in their training?
There are a lot of challenges, but then first of all, you see, oftentimes the environment and the resources available are posing challenges on them, because this is a case a teacher has gone through trainings, hoping to come out to see some basic things available, but then they are nowhere to be found. When this happens, it makes it very difficult for them to execute whatever they have gone through to learn. So examples are the furniture and then infrastructure itself, and then teaching learning resources. When they are finding it difficult to get these things, in fact, they suffer to execute the curriculum and other stuff. Yeah.
Thank you. From Ministry of Education, once we've been able to identify, no GS will definitely report to you some of these challenges. Do you have a plan, or have you been able to identify anything that you want to do to help to overcome these challenges? If you can share with us.
Okay, so thank you very much. So like I said, Ministry of Education is a policy-oriented institution. Okay, so basically, especially the pre-tertiary unit, what we do is that we lead the development and then the monitoring of the policy. So like they are all saying, we have realized a lot of, challenges, but that notwithstanding, now we have a policy at hand that we are implementing. Okay, so one of the policy action areas, and I think most of you are aware of the ECE policy. One of the action areas is to have pre-service and in-service teachers train and develop. Okay, one of the action area 3. And then we are to ensure that all teachers are trained and certified. And the policy target, okay, by 2025, we are expecting that about 85% of teachers in our classroom are trained, okay, and then are given the requisite, resources for them to try, in the space. So basically, what we are doing is to do the monitoring, okay, and then gather all the information. After gathering the information, we don't just sit down and then think about what to do for the Ghanaians. We need to have some kind of engagement with the stakeholders in education, or for us all to have one action area to solve these challenges. Thank you very much.
So for now, we can say that, or we should have it that for now, you don't have any remedy for these challenges as the Ministry of Education.
So I don't want to say that, we have different policies in Ministry of Education. Okay. So let me stick to the early childhood education policy.
We are talking about the early childhood education.
So as we are, implementing, we do what is called monitoring. We regulate, and then we do quality assurance of all the activities found in the policy. So as we speak now, this very year, we are developing what is called ECE application dashboard, okay, to track all the activities or all the indicators in the policy, so that we can be able to point out, the challenges and find a lasting solution to it. Thank you.
NTC, have you thought of anything that will help us to overcome these challenges that we are talking about?
Yeah, thank you very much. Before I address that question, I want to speak to I want to give you a response to
about those that are coming for teachers.
Exactly, about the quality of teachers and the UK recruitment and the other aspects. Ghana does not operate in isolation when it comes to teacher development and practices aim at and honing the skills, values, and competencies of a teacher. We don't operate in isolation. We have what we call the AFTRA, that's the African Forum for Teacher Regulatory Authority, of which the Secretary General happens to be the Registrar of the National Teaching Council, that is Dr. Christian Adaipoku. As I speak tomorrow, they'll be holding their conference in Zambia tomorrow. Ghana is also a member of the IFTRA, that's the International Federation for Teacher Regulatory Authority, made up of Australia and other countries. So most of these policies are policies that have been governed by the member countries. So with the UK, once you have a license to practice in Ghana, and that license can be verified or can be validated by a teaching council, you can equally practice in countries in other jurisdictions. We've had even teachers licensed from UK coming to practice in Ghana. We've accorded them the same respect, because these are some of the policy interventions that had been agreed upon by the member states and member countries. Thank you.
So to my main question, have you been able to identify some interventions for the problems we are facing in our schools?
Yeah. So NTC, that is mandated by the Act 1023, that is the Education Regulatory Bodies Act. As part of our mandate, when you take section 60K, it has to do with developing continuous professional development in the teaching profession. So that is where we come in when it comes to making sure teachers are competent to handle classes they are allocated to. So as part of the intervention, we have the service providers, that is the CPD service providers, who have been accredited by the council to engage teachers in relevant continuous professional development program. Just 2 weeks ago, SIBA, we accredited 2 of your models, that is the play-based learning and behavior management for Bole and Savannah. We also did the same for early numeracy, early numeracy too for Ascend North. Is it Ascend South? That's Ascend South, yeah. So these are the ways in which the council comes in to make sure teachers all over the country get access to professional development programs by development partners. And also we empower CSOs, that is the school, those CISOs. When I say CISOs, school improvement and support officers. Just last year, we trained close to about 1,666 CISOs in the mentoring and coaching program. If CISOs are here, they can attest. We've done 2 of those training. The first phase had to do with 1,666 CISOs. The second phase, which we are still progressing, has to do with about 1,872 CISOs. And these CISOs are to use the mentoring and coaching guidelines to help provide support for teachers in schools. Last year, for the first phase, we mentored or we supported close to 7,000 schools and about 70,000 teachers. The second phase, we are ongoing, and it ends in May 31st. So when it comes to teacher professional development program, the council is actively performing its roles as enshrined by the Education Regulatory Act. Thank you, Ryan.
So, STS coordinator, in your small way, we've been able to identify some of the problems that we are facing with the quality of teachers that are trained and deployed. How are you submerging these problems in your school?
Okay, thank you very much. In our small way, what we try to do is to, sometimes we don't have to go rigidly with the curriculum. So we need to give it a space and also find some time to be able to meet students in various groups to ensure that they go down there to practice very well. For example, if we want to follow only the curriculum, other activities may not be able to take place. So in our own small way, we try our best to adjust our timetable to be able to do other things that are necessary for the student teachers before they go out for their practices and they complete their courses. Like we organize orientation programs for them, both before they do the on-campus teaching, which is micro teaching, and then we organize another orientation for macro teaching. So these activities, they are made to help the student teachers familiarize themselves with what they are going to see when they go out there. So we don't just wake up and send them to the schools, but we have to give them orientation. And we made them do hands-on activities so that when they go, similar is replicated out there. We also have a lot of NGOs like Sabre, Right to Play, Pencils of Promise in the Volta region. We engage them during these orientations because they are training the teachers or the in-service teachers already. So they come time to time to our students to give them some tips so that when we deploy them for both STS and macro teaching, they are not strangers in Jerusalem. So these are some of the activities we do in the college. Thank you.
Master Roberts from Sabre, you talked about the fact that some teachers are not able to transfer the methodology, the theories into their methodology. When you go to the school and you see a teacher in such category, what do you do to help that teacher?
Yes, so we run different training workshops to try and address the problem. And we actually do this at 2 different levels. So we have both pre-service training work that we do and then in-service work. For instance, on the pre-service side, we run knowledge sharing workshops with tutors of colleges of education and lecturers of universities. The idea is to try and help in strengthening the knowledge of the teacher educators who are training the student teachers so that hopefully some of the problems are addressed at the pre-service level. At the pre-service level also, we are working with, again, the training institutions and the Ghana Education Service to create what we call model practice classrooms. So these are classrooms with trained mentors like the ones we had up here before, who are skilled in play-based learning and are able to help student teachers to translate the theories into practice when they go out. Just in recent times, we have started working with colleges of education to establish what we call early grade resource centers. We know that to be able to effectively enact the child appropriate pedagogy, resource is going to be key. And therefore, these centers are set up to help the student teachers learn about how to make and use their own teaching and learning resources from low and no cost materials in the environment. So that's all on the pre-service side of things. In terms of in-service, currently we run district-wide in-service teacher training programs, where for any district that we are working in, we train every single kindergarten teacher across the district. The main focus is on play-based learning and positive behavior management, but we have other topics like the NTS, NTC, not NTS, like the NTC rep talked about. We have content around numeracy and how to teach numeracy skills through play, literacy, assessment of children, and all of the other topics. So that's what we try to do. But what we've seen is that we as an organization cannot continue to do this in selected districts around the country, because then we will never get to the last teacher. And therefore, we are working with partners like Right to Play and then Innovations for Poverty Action to support the Ghana Education Service and the Ministry of Education to now scale play-based learning nationally. And so our colleagues within the ministry, there's a lot of discussions that have been going on to ensure that over a period of time, every single kindergarten teacher across the 261 districts receives training on play-based learning.
From Madam from GS, I know you also do some training for teachers in the classroom. I want you to enlighten us on what you do so that you equip them very well to give our learners quality education.
All right, thank you. Currently, we also train them through trainings we have attended, organized by some of the NGOs. The NGOs are doing very well. They've been training us officers from time to time. So whenever we come down, we also make sure we give the training to our teachers in the classroom. So from time to time, we train our teachers. We give them refresher courses. Though they have the knowledge, sometimes they tend to forget about it. So these refresher courses are also being organized time to time. Also, we go out for field trips and teachers who are doing well through demonstration lessons and other stuff. We the officers, sometimes do demonstration lessons during our normal rounds for them to observe whatever we want them to do. Through PLCs, we also come in to address their needs. And on our normal visits, we also have a pre- and post-teaching conferences with the teachers to talk about all the challenges they are facing. So currently, this is what we are doing in the classroom.
So this question will go to all of us. In your own opinion, what other things do you think that we are not doing? That you think when we do, it will help with the quality of teachers we have in the classroom? We talked about training, we talked about what the curriculum is saying. But still, we have teachers that are still in there that we need to capture. What do you think? Because we have stakeholders listening to us. Maybe what you say, they will add up and then we can all go by it.
With us, GES, we have strengthened our supervision. Yeah, we go around time to time. Usually we don't move out that much, but now the supervision has been very strong. So as and when we visit them, we are on them and we make sure they are doing the right thing.
Sabre, other things you want us to do? Other suggestions that will help us to solve this problem?
Yes, maybe two things. One of them is that I think listening to the earlier panelists, the mentors that spoke, I was beginning to wonder if perhaps more needs, and this is on the pre-service side, if more needs to be done to ensure that mentors fully understand the STS structure that student teachers are expected to go through. Because what I know, for instance, is that over the 4 years of the student teachers training, and they're expected to be exposed to STS. So in the first year, they are doing what they call beginning teaching, and there are a set of expectations for the student teacher who goes out for STS. And that can be different from the student teacher in second year who is doing developing teaching. And then in the third year, they are doing embedding teaching. And then in the fourth year, they are doing extended teaching. So one of the mentors, I think, for instance, was saying when they come out, maybe in the first year, the students are just observing and they are not doing anything, and they are not helping. But actually, it may be because that is just what they expected to do in that year, because they haven't gained any experience to be able to effectively contribute to the classroom. So I think we need to do a lot more to ensure that mentors understand the STS structure and therefore effectively support student teachers to learn when they go out. I think another I'll talk about perhaps is logistics for ensuring that STS happens effectively. At least we hear from some of the institutions that taking the students out every week is a challenge in terms of busing them. Getting the students to stay around the campus in terms of accommodation can be a challenge when they are in the fourth year. So I had a sister, for instance, currently in one of the colleges of education, and I think for her first 2-3 years, she had very, very little exposure to the classroom, even though she was supposed to be going out every single week. And a lot of it was because the logistics to actually enable the colleges and the universities to make that happen maybe it's a challenge. So I think there is the need for, especially Ministry of Education, JTech, to look at how we resource the institutions more.
STS coordinator, do you have other suggestions?
Yes, before my suggestion, I would like to say that some of our students, it looked like they were forced to become teachers. So accepting the change or accepting to become the intentional teacher that we are hoping for them is difficult. The same way those who have already been trained, as you mentioned, some are still adamant to change on the job. So to us, my thinking is that we need to conscientize them. And I think I heard the minister some time ago talking about interviewing the candidate before accepting them into the college. Of course, we need to interrogate them a little bit, in my opinion, to know if the person is really ready to come and teach. That is not daddy that forced him to go to college. That is the first aspect. The other one is logistics. Seriously, both the colleges and the universities are struggling to send the student out every week. And so we are still appealing to stakeholders to support us. Some of the colleges, their buses are all down. They cannot repair the buses. So the students have to walk for a long distance to access this activity we are looking out for. So we need support. Again, the classrooms in our catchment areas, some of the classrooms are very much appalling. They are not interesting. So when you go there and you see the whole place, you ask yourself, so I'll become a teacher and be here for about 20 to 30 years. I don't think I'm ready for this job. So immediately some of them complete. When they get opportunity, they will leave. So we are still appealing to the powers that be to support us to train the quality teachers that we all want for Ghana. Thank you.
NTC, if you can tell us something about the quality.
Thank you very much. Previously, when teachers go for a workshop or programs, facilitated programs, what they normally request for is item 13. Okay, now things have changed. When you are organizing any program, what they ask is, does it come with CPD points? That is what they ask. If there's no CPD points, then it means they are not going to attend. So what the council is doing in terms of professional development has to do with empowering development partners, the employer, GS as a whole, and the service providers to go all out there to the schools, to the districts, to make sure they give the teachers relevant professional development programs for them to be able to get the requisite CPD points to renew their license. And the council is also collaborating with Sabre, Right to Play, and the other early childhood partners to develop the insert manual, for the insert manual for the early childhood education. We've done the same for the secondary schools, and once we are in talks to see how we can make sure, because what we've realized that most of the interventions are fragmented from the partners. Sabre, even though they are targeting the same thing, but they have different pathways So we are looking at how we can leverage and bring all those interventions together and put them into a manual that can be accessible by all categories of early childhood practitioners across the country. We've also made available, when it comes to GES, we've been in talks with GES and the teacher unions as a whole as to how we can strengthen the CPD system. So currently, what we have is the mandatory programs. When it comes to CPD, we have the mandatory programs, we have the specialized or targeted programs, and we have the recommended programs. The recommended programs are programs that are spearheaded by development partners and GES as a whole. So they can initiate these programs. So we are also saying that once the opportunity is open, the partners can also come in, then we can also make sure we'll be able to tailor that area of CPD development for teachers to also get the training that they need. For mandatory programs, we have the PLCs and the CPD days. So for PLCs are done every week, once a week. Yeah. So for PLCs, the teachers are to meet the STARS area of interest. So these are areas that we can also promote the early childhood education. So what we can do is that when it's time for PLC, the teachers are in the early childhood environment, can meet in a cluster and find an area of common interest and also discuss, come out with strategies they can adopt to help shape the early childhood ecosystem in their various schools too. So we have the CPD days too. CPD days is a day set aside for teachers to undergo CPD. And for that day, school activities are closed. Teachers will have to meet and also discuss strategies, challenging topics, and interventions that they can use to promote learning. So that days can also be used for this early childhood development. So this is a minimum what the council is doing to promote teacher competencies.
So the last one from the Ministry of Education.
Okay, so Ministry of Education. Ladies and gentlemen, I will say that Ghana is making strides when it comes to early childhood education. I think that is the main reason why, from my broader perspective, other countries are coming to learn from Ghana. I quite remember in 2022, myself, Honorable Dogbe, we were in Uzbekistan for a World Conference on Early Childhood Education. And then we realized that issues with regards to recruitment, retention, and other things are cross-cutting across the whole world. Every country has its own peculiar issue. So Ghana, we are not far from that. So we are making strides, as I said. But then some of the things that I am thinking that we can strengthen is one, the capacity building of teachers. So we've been meeting coordinators in the space of early childhood education, and then they are always talking about, we've not been training this, we've not been training that. So we are thinking that we should train them to build their capacity. And then capacity building is not only about training. At times we need to teach them how to mobilize resources. So one of the things that the Ministry of Education we are concentrating is to train especially early childhood coordinators to know also how to mobilize resources, because the government cannot do it alone. And then we have a lot of partners, UNICEF and other partners. Like today we have Sabre and we have Right to Play. They are there. And these are, organizations and donors who sit in their, municipality and directorate. So they need to leverage on certain, component there and then work well in their, respective jurisdiction. And then second to that, implementation of policy. Normally we have a lot of policies in Ghana, but then the implementation, not only policies, other guidelines, they are slow in its implementation. And that is where I am thinking that we should also, strengthen. And then third is the synergy between, partners. Like today, Right to Play is here, Sabre is here, other organizations. They all have various visions and missions with different objectives. Okay, when they are entering our classrooms, so they have different methods and ways of approaching things. So I think we need to bring them together. Like we've even started the engagement. I mean, my brother is here. We've started the engagement, bringing them together so that we will have one common goal. Towards early childhood education in Ghana. And last to this point, sometimes colleagues who have completed, training colleges and university, they call me, can you help me to be recruited? I mean, they call a lot. So it means that we have a lot of trained teachers certified, with license, that can come. But still, the classrooms, some of the classrooms, a lot of the classrooms are empty. We don't even have, attendants and others. Okay, so I think this issue is a bit peculiar because sometimes recruitment processes depends on financial clearance. So if, we don't have that financial clearance, at times it's difficult for us to recruit. And so I think maybe the government is listening to us if, they can clear, the Ministry of Education, yes, because to clear the finances for us to, recruit. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much.
Okay, so all right, let's take the last one from NTC. You said you want to take the last one.
Thank you very much for your take on the capacity building and teacher development. I wrote about two issues, two challenging issues when it comes to teacher development. The first has to do with the mindset of teachers. Most of them up to now do not know, we have category of teachers that up to now do not know the value of developing themselves professionally or learning on the job. So once they finish college or got their license and they are posted, they believe that is it. It ends there. So this has to change. It has to do with the mindset of teachers. Also collaboration, effective collaboration. We've already talked about it. Stakeholders are here. The council ministry is open. The council is open. NTC has an LMS, that's the learning management system. Programs can be mounted there for free for teachers to access. These programs can be downloadable. They can access it within their own reach. And I think that can also help to promote the delivery and the practicing of early childhood policy within the country as a whole. Thank you.
Okay, so we'll now take questions from our audience. Want to say something? Okay.
Thank you very much. I think one thing is missing about the supervision. Supervision, my brother mentioned it briefly. Yes, for the college, when we send students for SDS, both 100 to 300 as well as 400, we assign teachers to every school. And principal will ask you to visit the schools twice in a month. And every visit, you will bring a report. So this is how effective we do ours. And I believe most of the colleges, they do that. So then those who are in 400, we visit them even weekends. You can just drive and visit them and find out their challenges and things that are happening. And even sometimes we check their lesson notes before they send it to their head teachers. So the whole thing is starting from the college, and we are monitoring them and be able to get this feedback. So we want the CISOs to also be strengthened so that the monitoring can continue. Because some of them complain, they don't have motorbikes. They can't go to, they go there maybe the whole month or 3 months or the whole term once. How can we achieve success? So we are appealing to the stakeholders, Ministry of Education again, help the CISOs to do the work well. Thank you.
Okay, so we'll take from our audience. Oh.
Okay, before that, the way forward, I wanted to stress on retention, as our brother mentioned.
Okay.
Way back, I was enrolled on a program, Mashav, and it was about early childhood. So before you be enrolled, you'll be asked to sign a bond that when you come back, you'll be at the place or in the KG for about 3 or 4 years. So it was really helping. Since the bond has been signed, you can't do anything else. So if we can go by it as that way to help the teachers remain at the KG for some time before they move on. And also, I plead that sometimes our NGOs are packed somewhere. There is no equal distribution of NGOs. in Accra, in Tamale, they are more there. So at least the whole region should have equal distribution of NGOs supporting the schools as well. Yeah.
So ministry will take note of it. So we'll take questions from our audience.
Thank you. I want to commend our panelists for the insightful discussions. You've done a great job. My question goes to NTC. I'm glad when you mentioned that teachers now have the opportunity to accumulate CPD points because of the training they have. Coming from curriculum, I want to find out how...
So, please, before she continues, we'll take about 3 sets of questions, then we'll respond to them before the next batch of questions. Thank you.
Yeah, I want to find out how you validate the training content. For instance, who are your validators? The training content that is delivered to teachers during their CPD sessions. How is it like? Who validate these? Then again, the training sessions, do you monitor the actual delivery of the content? If so, what has been the impact? Do they deliver the content as it is? And I want to find out if NACA has a record, the validation team that validates the content, because we design the curriculum and all the pedagogies and the strategies. So these are my questions. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Panelists, you've done well. That's a great job done. Please, mine may not be cautious, but opinion. With my co-tutor there, he was of the view that the kind of student teachers that we turn out into the field are of high quality or have good standards. I think I want to go with the Sabre education point of view. When it comes to the content delivery or the training being given, it's of high quality. But the people that receive this kind of training are questionable. So if we conclude or draw conclusion that the teachers that we have from 2018 to date are of high quality, please, I will differ in a way. I won't take that view because the content, the training process is of high quality, but the people who come for that high quality, not all of them really come with good intention. Like somebody said, maybe you are pushed into it. So we have to be careful about of that issue of saying that we have high quality teachers in the field now from 2018 to date. So that is my first issue. Then the second thing I want to also talk about is are there challenges in the curriculum that we have today, in the curriculum that we use to teach the teacher trainees? Are there challenges? To me, yes. One of them is the curriculum is designed in such a way that many of the students' attention is on passing exam, not practicalizing what is being taught. I was happy we came for one end of semester marking, then the UEW assessment officer made mention that in fact they are likely to review the scoring grades. The CA that we give to the student is 60%. And the students are expected to write and score 40% of end of semester exam. Then you mark at the end of the student's script, he's getting 1/60. But such a student will pass because of the CA being 60. So 1/40. So it means the student already has passed in advance because of the CA's giving. But in reality, the curriculum giving, the design of the grading, that gives the student 40% of the end of semester exam. He has done nothing over there. So it means it has been designed in such a way that the students are focused on passing their exam. So whatever means they will use to pass the exam, they prefer that than when we are out there, what will we do to help the younger ones? So let's also look at how we can, in case there is the room for us to review the curriculum of the teacher training colleges, we should take note of some of these things and implement them. Thank you.
Maybe the last one. Okay.
Thank you very much, my panelists. I'm very happy with that discussion, a very good one. Mine is not actually a question, but it's a contribution. Listening to the challenges that we face in, tutors face in training the early childhood student teacher, I will add that the misconception around early childhood education is also a challenge, because these students come to school, they start the level 100, and when they get to level 200, the misconception become too high that some even feel shy to come to the classroom. You go to the classroom and some even want to drop the course because they think the misconception that goes with if you are an early childhood student, then you are not academically good. Or when they are done and they go out, they are going to earn just a little money and others. And so it becomes a challenge. Some even don't want to come to class. We have to chase them. And so our place, what we do is, when they come, quickly we gather them, and before they specialize in that area, we try to discuss these misconceptions with them to eradicate them out and then expose them to some of the job opportunities, and also let them know that early childhood education is the foundation of a quality education, and we are like building blocks. If you are building and the foundation is not strong, when you get to the top, it will collapse. So they should feel proud of themselves during their course, and when you talk to them, when you say some of these things to them, then they become happy and continue. And even I remember we did that, and the following year, yes, this year, those in level 200, somebody from mathematics department has stopped their course and joined early childhood education. And so, as colleagues, I'll just tell you that when they come, we should have these things in mind, that the misconception still continues, and sometimes it will just pull them out. So let's try our best to help them to carry on.
That's very wonderful. That's well noted. So the education will help a lot. Maybe I want to take the third question, if it is question. If it's just a contribution, okay, let's go to the Vice Dean for a question.
Thank you very much for hearing another set of good discussion. We are very grateful. But my question goes to the NTC, publication of licensure exams. Are you supposed to publish the exams on radio stations? And are we even supposed to publish exams publicly? Because we know the nursing, the medical, and all other organizations conduct licensure exams. They don't come to the public to announce their results. In the announcement, in fact, stakeholders, especially those in colleges, universities, and so on, even demanded that we should separate the results so that they will know that the failure is from this place and not that place. Why Why did you publish the results? Thank you.
Okay, I think we have taken the first three sets of questions. We want the responses. The first one has to do with the training content and its validation and all of that. Can we have a response for that one first?
Thank you very much for your kind questions. Apart from the publishing of results. Okay, so on the validation, we have technical people within the agency or within NTC, the CPD department, headed by, the department is chaired by Anis Safa, and most of you know him, he's a renowned educationist. It's also, we have a rep from GES, Angela, that's the HR. GES is also a member, also a team member in the CPD committee. Dr. Ade is also there, Ade Neminkum is also there. So there's a team that is supervising. You didn't hear it? Don't give names. Okay, fine. So fine. So there's a team that is handling the CPD department or CPD ecosystem within the council. All right. So when it comes to, I think the challenge we might be facing has to do with the coverage and the monitoring. The last time we did an assessment or a review or a study on how the CPD is and on how teachers are being receptive to CPD programs, the results that came out was very impressive. Though we have certain challenges, but the reports that came out means that the content that the teachers were being trained on are content that are in line with the national teacher standard and the curriculum as a whole. You know, before every model is approved, it has to go through validation. We have what we call the CPD framework. It's online. You can Google. It's online. That we made it. It's online since 2020. The CPD framework is available, and the framework spells out the categories of programs, mandatory programs that teachers are required to adhere to. So for every model, the models are developed based on the expectations of the framework, based on the requirements of the teacher standard, based on the requirements of the curriculum as a whole. So for monitoring, there might be one or two bottlenecks, and that is why for the new CPD reforms, the CPD has undergone reforms. Previously, we used to you hear teachers talking about 110 CPD points and a whole lot of misunderstanding when it comes to the system. Now we've had discussions with GES, with the unions as a whole, and we've come out with a targeted point that meets all categories of teachers. So within a year, every teacher is required to obtain 20 CPD points. That is the reform that we are currently that is currently underway. So for monitoring, what we plan or what we are doing now is to engage the TOs, that's the training officers, and also the sisters, to also be on the lookout, or we are planting some of them in this CPD training for them to give us feedback, because our presence can be felt in every region. So we'll be leveraging on the TOs and the CISOs to also monitor some of these activities, because it's a comprehensive activity that everyone needs to be engaged in. Thank you. And you know, which one?
Is there a rep on the validation to validate the curriculum, the national?
You see, I'm with NTC, right? Last year, for instance, I was part of the developers of the curriculum. That's for secondary schools, but with NTC. So what I'm trying to tell you is that it's collaboration. It's collaboration, because even within NTC, NTC is part of the GES Council, and the NACA. We have the NACA head is also part.
But the validation, I want to find out. Do we have have a NACA rep who validates the curriculum content when you are doing the validation process? I just want to learn.
Okay,
Because
no.
The curriculum, we designed the curriculum with partners from all the agencies. The process will involve everybody, but when it comes to interpretation of the curriculum, at least somebody from NACA should be there so we know that this content that the service provider is going to provide it aligns with the curriculum. I just want to find
Okay, so before you respond, Madam, how about what you're saying is rightly in place, but in the alternative, where we have other practitioners or specialized individuals from those areas, but not necessarily staff of NACA in the team. Yeah, that's what I mean. That if we don't have a rep from NACA in the validation team, but we have persons who are practitioners or experts of their fields that can validate the content or the curriculum with the contents in the training that they are going to deliver, will that also serve the purpose? Because definitely whoever is coming from NACA may not have knowledge in all the subject areas.
What I wanted.
Okay, so maybe we'll take the last response on that then.
But I know the curriculum implementation is solved by a GS. They are the implementers, right? We NACA, we are NTC, we only act as authorities when it comes to those activities. So the implementers themselves are GS.
Okay, so let me quickly, as a tutor, he shared an opinion with regards to teacher quality. Let me quickly address this. I am pleading with my lecturers in the house and then my tutors in the house. Please, let us start sensitizing our in-service teachers, okay, with regards to recruitment. You see, if you find a way out to pass, okay, you can come out with first class, but you can stay home. Because today, the recruitment processes are not just like those days where you can present any certificate and then be sent to a classroom. Okay, so please let's just start sensitizing them. Like what you said, some people, they find their way out of passing. But then, let me share with you, I'm not a politician, but this is what I want to tell you to go and tell them. But when your teacher training is weak, the licensure examination will expose you. Please tell them, when your teacher training is weak, the licensure examination will expose you. Thank you very much.
Okay, so have you responded? Yeah, we'll come to the next set of questions. Can we have one mic down there?
Okay. So,
just on the validation, I think this is a knowledge sharing conference.
Yeah.
So I think this is something that my brother from NTC, you can just take note of and take home. Because exactly, I think this is learning for all of us.
Yeah.
There seems to be a gap there.
A kind of feedback.
Okay. So Sabre, we have prepared something, we've sent it, NTC validates it. And the question is, the one who developed the curriculum, are they there to also endorse?
Okay.
If it's a gap, I think all this is why conferences are held to bring some of these, surface some of these things up for us to address. So I don't think we need to be defensive or find a solution here for that. Thank you.
Thank you.
okay.
So let's.
Yes, so my colleague mentioned the focus for the curriculum in the colleges and universities being too examination oriented. Yes, so I think we have engaged a lot of people and they are thinking about reforming the whole system. Both UCC and UEW and amalgamated colleges are doing something about that. The issue about the misconception about early childhood has been there since. Personally, I was given a name in UCC those days. They call me Ellie. Whenever I'm passing, they call me Ellie. So you are even shy. You are Ellie in everything. Yes. So, and in UEW, early child students are called Pampers. They call us Pampers. So, it is the same thing in the college. Even some staff members, teachers in the college, they have been, let me say, they will corner the students at a very early stage and change their mind that don't do that course, don't do that program. It's a problem. But our principals, sometimes they are very strong on their work. They know their job, and we still get students. And our job as teachers, as my colleague from Commander mentioned, first catch them young. So first week orientation, let's talk to them. Let's try and be there to talk to them before other course or program areas snatch them from us. Because our admission system is such that even when you enter, you can still change. It's not that you have been offered admission for early childhood, so that no, they still change. So we need to talk to them as you have been doing. We always do it during orientation, the prospects of studying early childhood education. Thank you.
Just a quick comment on the misconceptions. I think one of the things we have discussed at Sabre, and we would really be interested in trying out with some of our partners, is looking at awareness creation for would-be candidates, student-teacher candidates. So, for instance, those who are graduating from the SHS, oftentimes in their schools, career days are organized. Can we, as training institutions, for instance, begin to look at entering into some of these second cycle institutions and actually presenting early grade as one of the options with all of the benefits that we can think about, so that people are actually driven to choose that course because they have been pre-informed about it. So that's one of the things that we can look at. I think one of the things that in recent times I tell early grade student teachers when I meet them is, look at recruitment. For instance, if you study the junior high school program, there are 3 junior high school classrooms in our school system, JHS 1 to JHS 3. We have fewer junior high schools than primary and kindergarten. So actually, eventually, all things being equal, we need fewer JHS teachers. The other program is upper primary. In our school system, we have P4 to P6. That's 3 classrooms. Early grade, we have kindergarten 1 up to P3. That's 5 classrooms. So all things being equal, there is space to recruit more early grade teachers than all of the other levels. So if tomorrow, ministry says we are not getting financial clearance, we can only recruit a few for where there are gaps are, which category of student teachers have more space? Thank you very much.
Yes, with regards to the misconception, in service training, teachers are also facing the same problem. Sometimes the fact that extra classes and other stuff. Just recently, someone called, "Madam, I'm leaving the KG because I don't even get anything at all. They share the money, they don't remember us. When they are even post and positions, they don't mind the KG teachers." But what I am advising is that please let's encourage the in-service teachers who are on the field and also make the service attractive. Like organizing, we should bring so many activities on board. Now we have the kiddie match, the kiddie quiz, and it's very attractive. Now the teachers are feeling very okay because they think they are being involved in other activities where people are organizing activities at the primary level and then the JHS level. Now we also have activities to suit our levels, and it is making it attractive. Teachers are now coming to the KG to teach. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know if I can factor in something here on the examination-driven curriculum. It's quite unfortunate that things are going that way, because that was one of the key things the new B.Ed curriculum sets out to address. So if you look at the assessment criteria or procedure for the B.Ed program that the colleges and the early grade and basic education departments of the universities are running, it was to move away from the exam-driven or exam-focused to more practical activities. That is why yesterday I even mentioned it, that the CA, which is the continuous assessment, is taking 60%. What goes into the 60% is what many teachers are not giving attention to. That is why it is appearing as though we are still looking at the examination than the practicality of the program we are running. Every tutor or lecturer in this program is expected to take the student teachers through practical activities which will lead to their developing what we call the subject portfolio and subject project. Subject portfolio and subject project. If we really go by these things, it will let the student teachers have more practical experiences. But unfortunately, it is appearing like the transition is not transiting too well, because we have hitherto been more engulfed in examination-driven focused curriculum implementation that has brought us, that thing has cast a shadow on the new program that we are implementing. So I will push this one directly to the universities, because right now the colleges are depending on the universities, or are taking, quote and unquote, permit me to use for lack of better words, instructions from the universities. So if the universities are not pushing for the practicalities, all we request for is send your CA. Then in weeks later, examination is coming. The universities are actually not interested in monitoring what went into the CAs. So tutors conduct assignments, written assignments, and let's say quizzes, just to build up the CA, which is the 60%. But the practical component, which is the subject project and subject portfolio, I think we are losing sight of that. If we can go back and begin, in fact, we did a few monitoring in some colleges. They are doing very well. But how many of them? In those same colleges that I am saying they were doing very well when we went round, some tutors or some subject areas in those same colleges were not practicing those things that were expected. So I think it's a transitional issue. So let's keep drumming it up whilst the reform of the current program is going on. We want to factor all of these things to address the practical components. Thank you. So maybe the last question, which has to do with the publication of results from NTC. Why do you make it public when other licensing authorities do not?
Hello. I think it has to do with accountability and transparency. Because, ever since we started the licensure exams, there have been a whole lot of miscommunication about how the exams are being marked, or as to whether it's done to disadvantage teachers in a certain direction. So I believe it has to do with transparency and accountability. Thank you.
Good. So we want to take maybe the next set of questions.
Okay, let's see if mine will be a question or a contribution. We have the Ghana Data Privacy Act. Okay, so we have to protect the results. Yeah. Hello, yeah, so we have to protect the results. So the results that are given out are not like individual. Kwesi got A or Adwa got B. It's just general presentation and all that. The same way with BEC and SHS that we say, oh, this number passed this and all that. So I don't think there's any problem with announcing that 10% passed. I don't see any problem with that. Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's no name attached to them, and it helps us to know where we are going and how we are doing. Yes, yeah. So the next is about, I would like to suggest that within the colleges of education, we should have in-service sort of, whilst we are there, to do some orientation, some sort of psychosocial orientation as to the importance of the teacher to society. Those can be done through seminars and other things. It may not necessarily be in the curriculum. So it's continuous education, so that by the time they pass out, they would have been, their attitudes and mindset would have been, at least if not totally changed, at least there will be some level of change, so that retention can improve. So this goes to the colleges of education to find innovative ways of running psychosocial seminars to tune people's minds to love what they are doing. I've been a teacher for many years and I enjoy my job. I love talking. I love engaging people. And I like imparting knowledge. But the next thing is that if you look at the pay slips, you have what we call retention allowance or retention premium. That was introduced just to keep them in the school. I'm in charge of labor union negotiation. For the past 6 weeks, we have been negotiating with them, and then they are still talking about that. We give you the retention premium, and you still leave the classroom, which is not good. Some. So we would like to find innovative ways of motivating them, so that then we remove the retention premium. You want us to remove that one? Make it bigger. Now they've introduced a number of allowances. We are still negotiating to try and make things better. But we would like to provide more logistics in the schools so that you have more logistics to teach and enjoy your job. All right? With respect to, let's say, employing more teachers, etc., as of now, we are under the IMF or whatever conditions, and we are not allowed to just freely recruit or even just freely add more allowances to you on the pay scale. So let's be loyal to our country. This is the only Ghana that we have, and be happy impacting lives of people. Thank you very much. Clap for that one.
Right, thank you. So we want to pick one from this way. This hand has been up for long. We want to pick one from here. Come to Leslie, then we'll come back there.
Thank you. My name is Alberta. So, first, I want to comment on what Mr. Taban said, that the licensure exams expose the teachers. Sometimes what goes into examination goes beyond a good teacher. Some people you go around are performing very well in the classrooms. They write the exams and they don't do well. Some people you go, they don't even prepare their lesson notes. They go and write these exams and they pass. So that side, we shouldn't even bring it in. Passing of exams doesn't make a good teacher. That exam is just for the license. It doesn't go into making somebody a good teacher. So that one, I disagree with you on that one. Secondly, raising awareness on early childhood education, I don't think it should be a bottom-up approach. Rather, it should be the reverse. Because this constant derogatory remarks, even our leaders in offices who are educated also do it. I want to cite my own example. When this detail program came, people were supposed to be selected from the regional offices to join the program. So my name was even added. And then later I was told that a very educated person said that I'm only an early childhood coordinator. What am I going to do at the secondary school? Among all the people they selected, I was the only person who had 16 years of secondary school teaching experience. They had only taught in the basic schools. Me, that I know the secondary school curriculum. Because of my schedule in the office, I never went into early childhood, asked Tony, until I went to the regional office. But because of the passion I have, I am doing wonders. So sometimes, so sometimes it's not just about our schedules or what. We can do more. But our colleagues look at us, early childhood today, this one, she's just a don't be bothered. So it's, no, we are not bothered, but there are awareness creation.
But it must be addressed.
From the top, the awareness, we are all humans. Some
We agree.
to us and they demotivate us. Thank you.
Before you speak, just a follow-up on addition. Apart from the leaders or those in authority giving us that respect and recognition, we also have to work on ourselves. You go to places, an early childhood practitioner is like this forum, picks the mic. When every other person is speaking English, English is not our language. We all learned it. No. When you do this, pardon me, not everybody in the room can speak the tree. Not everybody in the room can speak the tree. Now, you don't want to pitch yourself against others. The point I'm making is that when everybody is making contributions, the early childhood teacher in the room does not want to speak some. Please, we have met in different forums. So as we are seeking approval from others, we also need to do our homework also. That is all the point I'm trying to put across. So that when people are contributing, we should also speak for them to know that what they are thinking about us, we are not like that. Thank you.
Thank you. Friends, I think we know that teaching is the most meritorious act of service.
Clap for that.
It's the most meritorious act. If a nation picks its wrong teachers, it falls into a doldrum. Ghana is picking its not correct teachers. Now, what we know from the research is there's an attitude against teaching by those that do not want to be teachers. I think we all know you can't change the mindset when there's a 21-year-old, 22-year-old who has struggled to go through senior high school, has gotten a poor education, poor quality, and ends up opting for the most meritorious act of service, teaching. When I go to rural areas of northern Ghana, I see volunteer teachers who would do anything to become a teacher. But guess what? They don't get selected. We have the wrong people going into the teaching force. Not 100%, but at least 30 to 40% are the wrong people. You cannot change that barometer until we have a different modality. And I would like to introduce one new approach. In some countries, Canada, Australia, Sweden, they ask you not just to fill out an application for teaching. They want to see the volunteerism you've done in the classroom. You can't be a Canadian teacher unless you've done at least 8 weeks of community service in a teaching classroom or somewhere in the country that shows that you are wanting to serve the poor. So Ghana, it's a book learning episode. Application goes in, application comes out, and we select our teachers based on what they've written or academic approach. We have to face a reality. No one wants to go to rural Ghana to teach. We know that. The why is because we're not selecting the ones that are serving the poor. If you go to any district, Kumbungu, Jarapa, Laura, anywhere in the Upper West, Upper East, Northern region, you have a large cohort of senior high school students that are volunteering to become assistant teachers. Why? They can't pay for tertiary. They're waiting it out for 2 or 3 years in those classrooms to become a GS, to become a teacher. It used to be a pupil-teacher avenue. It's no longer there. What I'm advocating for is an application that includes at least some level of volunteerism to show that that person honestly wants to become a teacher. Or we're going to be in great trouble. Thank you.
Thank you. So from him, we'll come to Executive Director, then we close the case on this. Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity. I think Uncle Robert Wright from Sabre was suggesting that the universities and the colleges move to the SHS to canvas for students for the early grade. I'm just trying to ask Uncle Robert not to go there at all. It's frustrating to do that. The issue is that you would go to the SHS to preach the good news about early childhood, whatever it is. They will get interested in this area. We'll go and buy the phones. But let me take my college. And then we'll apply 2,755 applicants choose Commander College. And we have to pick 290 students for the 6 courses that we run in the college. So let's say about 65, 70 students are supposed to go to the early childhood or early grade department. But about 1,000 students applied for that program. So what do you do in a situation of this nature? So the system must really, like my sister said, we need to put in place better systems for our system to operate very well if we really want to be classified as a serious country. Because you will do all the underground work and some of these policies will put you down. And so that is it. The second one has to do with my colleague SES brother there talking about it. I think earlier on was said by Uncle Robert, the same person. You see, the logistics that we're talking about, let us identify the most important ones among them and work on them. My director is not around. Anyway, some people from the GS are here. Please, with a beautiful curriculum that we started in 2019 and so forth. One important thing that is left out is transport system. And that is rendering the whole thing becoming, I wouldn't want to use certain words, but I think that it's making the program less attractive. Because the issue with STS is to involve our students in practice. So for a week, 1 or 2 days are selected for the children to go to the partner schools to learn on the job what is happening in the classroom so that they can use that to better themselves in the classroom. But where is the transport, the car, the buses to transport them? Something happened in my college halfway the semester. Students were to walk down. I don't know if you know Commander. Yes, walk down from campus to Kisi and other environs for STS. Because the students were unwilling to be told that because of lack of buses, you cannot. The SLC had to provide us with a bus. But because of the pressure on that bus, it's also broken down. And so that's not there. If we are a serious people trying to work out something for our education system to be effective as a country, we will not roll out a beautiful, curriculum or program of this nature without supporting with some of the logistics that will make it work very effective. So our brothers, the stakeholders.
So basically, the next point is about logistics.
Yes. So let us see how best we can support the colleges, especially. As for the universities, I know they have a lot of buses.
We don't have.
You don't.
We don't have.
So
we're struggling a lot.
You are also in the soup. Then let us call.
You saw how we are struggling to convey you here. Imagine you are sending a student to Atechedo, where we send them. The challenge is all over.
Yeah. So let's try to help us so that we can deliver this beautiful program to our students. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's come to Director here. Okay, Director, permit me. Let's take those two, then you sum up for us. Thank you.
Please, thank you very much. I'm Sarah, a National Service personnel. And please, I want to know, some of us, or some of the students, they do well to pass their exams and to have good class and also pass their licensure exams. But when the portal is open for application, you have to, they ask you to pay an amount of money, of which is very huge, because you are just a fresh student out of town that you want to get employment. Meanwhile, the training candidates, they are posted. So I want to know why. Why is it that we have to pay monies before we are being employed?
Sorry, you want to respond to that? Okay. So no, you take that question so that the responses can come.
Yeah, and I'm a Sabre trained teacher since 2013. And from that time, our last training that we went was on 2017. And since the new curriculum came on board, we've not heard of any training, we've not partaken in any training. And since we the trainers, I think we were the first batch or the second batch at Ola College of Education. But we've not heard of any ongoing training that we can partake in for that play-based activity. We want to know the new thing on board so that we can send it to the various schools. Thank you.
Okay, let's come to director. Then we'll take responses.
Thank you very much. The question that was asked regarding huge sums of money being paid during application for recruitment, right? So my question is, what kind of, the money you are being asked to pay is for what? And who asked you to pay such sums of money?
And into which account?
Yes. Will you give us further and better particulars? Who asked them to pay an amount of money? Yes, so what, you see, hello.
Yeah, we are with you.
Yes.
Please proceed, you have the mic.
Thank you very much, and I'm speaking into the mic. So what I want to say is that kind of request or demand is unofficial. That is what I want to say. But I wanted you to be very clear so I can respond appropriately. So GES management does not require a teacher applying for recruitment to pay any such huge sums as you are contemplating. That is what I want to say. Yeah, thank you. And then I hope that on the program, I see wrap-up and key actions to take forward. I hope that you have something like a communique or something. I don't know whether that's
that is the next activity after this.
So that will be our take-up.
Yeah.
And then we'll see what we can do. Thank you very much.
But director, before you take your seat, or as you take your seat, please, this thing is a general concern. The concern our sister raised. You know, some of these things you can't mention names. Neither can you point fingers. But we are aware that these things are happening. So we are only appealing that if it is within your outfit to address this in the system, it will help a lot.
Okay, that is what I've said.
Let's do a little survey. How many of you in this room are aware that these things are going on? You see? So we can't run away from it. So you are officials in the office. Maybe somebody is eating on your head. Maybe. So we are alerting you that find ways of curbing it, because
I heard some are willing to provide further and better particulars.
we will not want to go that in this forum.
I will direct them to the social prosecutors of Thank you very much.
It is true. There is a saying that if you want to spell a beautiful idea, just set a committee.
So
So on that last one, I would say that those who can provide better and he's here, give it to him directly, and he will treat it in confidence. And it's not only in education. I think across the country now, young graduates have to pay almost 6,000 to 10,000.
Hey, 12,000. 12,000.
So
only for teaching job.
Not teaching, even forestry. So all this that I'm saying is all because of that.
Why is it pretending?
So please. Okay, so my comments are this.
Okay. What happened? It's serious.
I think, some of the issues we are saying, many of them are structural. They are structural. And as our brother said, my Tashkent brother said, you know, as for Ghana, we are good at the policies and the laws. And there are many countries who come and study ours and go and implement them well. So structurally, we have a problem. We are not committed to seeing policies through to the end. Once we've created the policy, we think. Done. KG were one of the countries that in Africa that had all this. And you go up to now, even some districts don't know we have KG. They still build classroom for P1 to P6, 6-unit classroom. Okay. So the ministry, GES, please, it's not enough to just put in place policies. We have to see through to the end. And so some of the issues we are raising are structural, and some of them, the policies are there to address them. Let's take, for instance, early child education. When you introduce something new, it's the last kid on the block. If you don't build incentives, there will be optics. And in many countries, because they see it as the foundation, they make sure people who go there are better paid. We have turned everything upside down. Okay? And so we talk more. We like to do the rhetoric. Oh, it's the foundation, it's the foundation. Who builds a house, foundation, and put mud as foundation? We put concrete. So if we are serious, you know, and for me, I think we are sitting on the time bomb. Because we think, you know, we can just get on with things, and very soon, as things are getting worse, something will give. Something will give. So those of us who have the power, let's use it to make a difference. Let's use it to make a difference. You know, we have all the best policies, but we talk too much rhetoric. You know, so please, let our best brains go to the early child education. Let's invest in it. Let's address the infrastructure problem. I was in one of these planning workshops, and he said, oh, enrollment target for primary is from 96%. Then primary to JHS was good with 54%. And I said, how come? Because you don't sit any exams at primary 6 to enter into JHS. Then when I went around talking to people, they said, oh, why you forgot when we introduced JHS, we didn't do the infrastructure to go with it. Okay? So we allowed students to drop off at pieces. Then we now say we are building what? Complementary education. Let's just build more JHSs, especially in rural areas, so that the children can transition smoothly into it. It's the same with KG. We introduced it, but you go to many places, KGs are under the West structures and so on. Okay. So these are structural issues that can be resolved if really we make commitments, and sometimes we the citizens must also speak out. The other last point I want to make on this is a minor issue that my colleague mentioned, that there is a lot of, it's not only in education, but generally as a society, we love children, but we don't invest in children. Okay? If I, as a father, I get some more money, I'm likely to go and buy a car. Okay. We need to begin to get the mind of our society to say, let's make time for our children. Let's invest in our children. Let's play with our children. Let's make time for our children. It needs to become a cultural mind shift. We spend more time in churches and mosques than we spend with our children. There was a German woman who came and stayed, did the host visit. And she asked my friend, but how time do you people have time for your children? Because the family I stayed with, they go to church after they come from work. The children are there. Saturday, they go to funerals and weddings. The children are at home. Sunday, they go to church with the children, but the children go somewhere and they are also sitting somewhere. Okay. So there is a whole thing we need to change, especially we the men. We need to spend more time with our children. That's why when our sister did some game, I said, let's practice it at home. It's not just for schools. Let's do more with our children at home. So we can begin to shift that mindset that children at that stage need stimulation, they need play, they need conversation. We are the first teachers and not lead everything on the education. Thank you. Sorry, my last point is to you.
Thank you.
My last point is to you. Please, as facilitators, when we facilitate, let's encourage people to speak in the language they are most comfortable with. We've devalued our mother tongue. Look, I may be able to speak, look, I speak Twi, I speak Ga, I speak Ewe. But ask me to speak in any of these, I can't articulate my thoughts. Because I have not developed the language for it. So when somebody comes and you are there, encourage people to speak their language. If it needs that, you find somebody to translate it into English. Let's do that. We devalue our language too much, so it makes a lot of people come into places and they don't want to speak. Because if they speak some words and get it wrong, we'll laugh at them. So please, this one, justice, is to you.
All right, thank you very much, Director. All too soon, I think we want to bring the curtain down on this session. At this point, our time is far past gone. We want to break into groups. You have been given, or you picked some papers. You picked some papers, numbered 1 to 5. So we are forming 5 groups. So we want to have, there are some plastic chairs outside. So any group that want to go outside and be on the corridors or at the foyer there, you are free to do so. So can we see all those who picked 1? Kindly rise up. 1. Kindly rise. We are breaking into groups, and this is what we are going to do as our last session. On this note, we want to say a very big thank you to our panelists and the moderator. Thank you for leading us in this discussion and sharing your thoughts. God bless you greatly. You may resume your seat. Let's give it up to them. Let's give it up to them. Ole, ole, la, 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 la. Is somebody joining me to sing this? Ole, 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 ole.
Part of my body. Oh, you don't know how to do it.
Part of my body.
So we are going to mention various parts of the body. Please.
Let's rise, all of us.
So when we mention the part of the body, then you do the action for us. So when I say, what can the hands do? They can shake, they can shake. What can the eyes do? They can see, they can see. What can the legs do? They can walk, they can walk. What can they? So let's go. Ole, ole. Tra la 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 la. Your response is tra la 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 la. Okay. Ole, ole. Tra la 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 la. Part of my body. Tra la 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 la. Ole, ole. Tra la 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 la. Part of my body. Tra la 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 la. What can the legs do? They can walk, they can walk. What can the hands do? They can write, they can. What can the eyes do? They can see, they can see. What can the mouth do? They can talk, they can talk. Ole, ole, la 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 la. Part of my body, la 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 la. Ole, ole, la 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 la. Part of my body, la 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 la. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
So at this time, we want to have all those who picked one at the front with sister. All those who picked one will be at the front row here for their group discussions. Now, each group is going to be reflecting on what we discussed here since yesterday. The 2-day activities, reflect on them, and what are the critical issues that you want us to take forward? What are the critical issues? So each group, when you are set up, you'll be given some A4 sheets. You put them together. You'll have, every group will have 30 minutes to discuss, and a rep from the groups will come and give a presentation in 3 to 5 minutes. In 3 to 5 minutes, you just read out what has been penned down from your group. So all those who picked one come to a sister's place. All those who picked two will be in the middle of the 2 air conditioners here. But any group that wants to go out, there are some plastic chairs, you are free to do so. Group 3 will be between the 2 air conditioners here. The 2 air conditioners here. Group 4 will be in the corner there. And group 5. Let me bring group 2, group 3 here, and then group 5 at the far end. 1, 2, 3 here, 4 and 5. 5 in the middle. So, but if you feel like going out, you are free to do so. But if you want to bring the chair and be in the front here also, okay, I can see some chairs coming in already. No, down. We're ending these group discussions at 1:30. Oh, it's almost 1:30. So, group 2 in the middle there.
2 is here. Another can use the high table. High table. So you are not comfortable.
25.
Okay, 25. Can use the high table.
Okay. What about you? Yes, sir. That's good. That's good.
Okay, yes. Oh, but this place is also okay. We can just sit there. We can just leave the table. Group 5 on the day.
Group 5?
On the day.
Group 5 is on the days. Group 5 is here. Please, you can climb up.
Group 3 here.
Okay. I think they are the reception there. So let me. So by 1:45, we should be done. Thank you. We are looking at what are the critical issues to be taken forward.
Where is group 5? They are here.
All the key learnings we have made, and what are the critical things that you think we should take action on. Critical things requiring action, if I can put it so. This phase should be ending at 1:45. It cannot be. Group 5 is on the days. Please join us here, Group 5 members. Group 1 is set. Group 2 is also in the front row. I will visit every group to see what is happening. We are noting down the action points. The action points. The critical action points. Critical takeaways. Critical takeaways. So this will be including all the critical things you have learned and the critical things you think should be taken forward.